20 seconds.
Good afternoon. I'm here today to share outcomes pertaining to a successful 6-month gang and violent crime and narcotics investigation, Operation Crown Down. I want to begin by acknowledging the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office investigators and partner agencies who participated in this operation. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Crime Gun Intelligence Center, JSO Gang Unit, our ATF, and our State Attorney, Melissa Nelson. Also representing the ATF is Robert Bryson, Group Supervisor with ATF, and Mark Romano, Director of Investigations for the Homeland Security and Investigations Department for JSO. Dedicated investigators with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and our partner agencies work both in covert and non-covert capacities with the explicit goal of incapacitating a local documented criminal gang, the Insane Gangster Disciples, or from this point forward known as IGD. I want to provide some background about this gang. They are a loose subset of the national gang, the Gangster Disciples. IGD has co-opted the name and symbology of the Chicago-based Gangster Disciples, and there are pockets of IGD presence in other parts of the country. This was a 6-month operation which utilized the investigative and technological resources of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and our partner agencies. The purpose of this long-term investigation was identifying members of this street gang and building criminal cases against them. I want to frame why this operation was instituted. In May of 2022, Chase Robeson murdered an individual named Devontae Jackson. After Robeson was arrested and charged with this murder, our investigators learned that Robeson is a member of IGD. Immediately, investigators with both the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit and the gang unit coordinated efforts to gain intelligence on this organization and its members. JSO detectives learned that IGD operates locally with its roots in Jacksonville's west side. Additionally, investigators learned that its members trafficked in narcotics and engaged in acts of violence. Given the dangers posed by these gang members, investigators crafted this operation with the intention of arresting as many members as possible to rid our community of this criminal organization. I'm gratified to report that this operation achieved that objective. 19 documented members or affiliates of IGD were arrested over the course of this 6-month operation. Currently, these defendants have pending criminal cases in state and federal court. These individuals were arrested for a wide variety of felony charges, including murder, manslaughter stemming from a fentanyl overdose investigation, carjacking, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, trafficking in fentanyl, trafficking in methamphetamine, sale of methamphetamine, sale of heroin, sale of cocaine, aggravated fleeing or attempting to elude a law enforcement officer, possession of controlled substances, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property. Additionally, law enforcement seized the following contraband during this operation: 18 firearms, as you can see some of them are on the table to my right, including handguns, rifles, and firearms components such as silencers, lasers, and gun switches, 111.80 grams of methamphetamine, 22.90 grams of fentanyl, 16.40 grams of cocaine, 3.90 grams of heroin, and 203 grams of marijuana. All the seized firearms were examined by forensic firearms examiners housed within JSO's Crime Gun Intelligence Unit and run through NIBIN, which is the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. Through this analysis, investigators learned the following. A recovered DPMS Panther Arms rifle was a murder weapon used in the 2022 murder. A recovered TriStar 9mm L129 was the weapon used in the 2021 shooting. Through the thoughtful and meticulous investigative work of our JSO detectives and our law enforcement partners, many gang members are facing serious criminal charges. As a result of this operation, a once thriving, violent organization is now functionally extinct. This operation stands as another major multi-agency law enforcement success, pairing the use of advanced undercover techniques with cutting-edge technology to disrupt violence and drug trafficking. Our community is safer today due to the remarkable work of these dedicated investigators. To those group and gang members who continue to terrorize our community, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office will continue to use all of our resources and those of our partner agencies to stop your organizations and imprison you. We will keep coming for you until Jacksonville is free of violence and all of its citizens can live in peace. Operation Crown Down highlights the tendency, flexibility, patience, and competency of our investigators and those of our partner agencies. We will share intelligence, we will adopt the most advanced technologies, and we will work in covert capacities to bring crime drivers to justice and decapitate criminal organizations. Right now, I'd like to introduce our friend, State Attorney Melissa Nelson.
Sheriff, thank you. When we talk about collaborative efforts to protect the public, these arrests are a clear-cut example of results that happen when we all work together. Illegal firearms, drugs, and a local criminal enterprise whose activities have caused immeasurable harm in our community now have been taken off the streets through the work of the dedicated agencies you see here on stage. As Sheriff Waters mentioned, the Crime Gun Intelligence Center continues to be an invaluable resource to our community. I'm grateful to be joined today by the prosecutors who are handling these cases, including the State Attorney's Office Chief Assistant Lee Hutton, who is handling the prosecution of Chase Robeson for murder. Lee Hutton's, I need to give him a shout out right now. His keen attention to detail as he handled that prosecution and prepared for that case is one of the reasons this operation netted such results. He does not like credit, but all of you who work with him know that what I'm saying is in fact true. Also of note, as the sheriff mentioned, one of the defendants on the board is being prosecuted for his drug dealing that directly led to the overdose death of a man in December of last year. Though he did not pull a trigger, his actions were just as deadly. So in closing, let me again thank all of you who worked tirelessly to keep our community safe and worked on this investigation. To those of you who are prosecuting these cases, to you, Sheriff Waters, Mark Romano, your team, Bob Bryson, your group at ATF, and your continued collective efforts against crimes like these. These arrests and prosecutions have taken dangerous people off our streets.
So if you have any questions, I'll answer what I can right now.
I had a question for Ms. Nelson regarding the prosecution. It's obviously different crimes, like the murder is going to be a harder prosecution. What can you say about us keeping a lot of these people off the streets? I mean, do you prosecute them at once? Do you prosecute them all together?
So, and actually in driving over and talking to two of the assistant state attorneys who we've dedicated assets to the sheriff's office for this and other prosecutions. But the sheriff read the litany of criminal offenses. Those are serious offenses, some that are punishable up to life in prison, certainly murder is. And so, yes, you can expect that these people, assuming that we are successful in obtaining convictions, will be taken off the street and this entire organization dismantled. That's our plan.
And Sheriff, you had mentioned this was a lot on the west side. Can you describe what you mean by that? Were they just kind of all over the west side? Because the west side is a big area of the city. So
my understanding from our detectives, the Hooterville area around California, 103rd, not Hurlong, but in those areas up there.
Okay.
Will any of them be charged in connection with the Devontae Jackson murder in addition to Robeson?
You want to answer that? Okay, we'll talk about that later on.
And there was obviously the murder and the manslaughter. What kind of general terror were they causing for these neighborhoods around California and 103rd? Was this a difficult thing to kind of keep the peace in the neighborhood with this going on?
Listen, when you talk about selling fentanyl, methamphetamine, and all those drugs, and the guns involved, I think there are terror. I think they are a serious problem. Well, not anymore. And we're going to continue to focus in those areas to make sure that there's anything lingering. If it is anyone hanging out that's a part of this group, we're going after them also.
And you say they were linked to a national organization. Can you describe what you mean by that?
So there's a Gangster Disciples out of Chicago. They get that name from them. And there's some loose associations, but not close where they're buddies and they talk on the phone like that, but just a name. Some of the hand signs that they do, all Gangster Disciple type stuff.
Thank you, Sheriff.